I'm not waiting for someday anymore. Let's talk about it. Like so many of us, I felt like life was just happening to me for a long time. And we get so stuck in routines and expectations and things that life is just throwing at us constantly. And I had to think to myself, what kind of mom did I want to be? What kind of person did I want to be? What kind of life did I want? Because nobody is going to give me the life that I want. I have to claim that. I have to figure out who I want to be and why. Who do I have to be to raise my kids the way that I want, to get the life that I want? But to understand how I got here, let's start at the beginning. Now, if you don't know my backstory, I have 4 children, 3 boys, 1 girl, and my 2 middle sons have autism, and my eldest son has ADHD. So we've had the normal problems in school like everyone else, attention, focus, hyperactivity, things like that. But this year, everything changed. Let's start with my youngest. This is her first year of school. She's just starting kindergarten. We're so excited. She has all her cute little supplies. She's doing well academically. Then came the calls. She had problems with roughhousing and hitting. As a parent, you're just like, okay, so maybe she needs to learn more boundaries. Maybe she needs to be taught how to deal with other people in those situations. But no, she was suspended 3 times in a span of 2 weeks. My kindergartner, my 5-year-old. So I called a meeting. In the meeting, we had the principal, vice principal, counselors, behavioral specialist, or teacher, of course. And in this meeting, they labeled my daughter as aggressive. My 5-year-old, aggressive, told me that they had to clear the class because she threw a tantrum, and that they were scared of her when she tried to get someone. Mind you, my daughter is the only black girl in that class. I had to look at everyone in that room and assure them that a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum is a danger to no one. Sending her home daily is not teaching her how to be around her peers. And the times that she did hit back or kick after being hit or kicked doesn't mean that she's malicious or aggressive. It means that she needed to be redirected and taught how to deal with those situations. She needed to be guided. That's why she's in school. Isn't school to guide children? We created a behavioral plan, and I committed to coming into the class 3 to 4 times a week to help out in the class or just keep her on task and on track. So I thought, okay, crisis managed. I fixed that, and everything was great, right? No. Then came my 2nd grader. He has autism, and in the beginning of the school year, they let us know that they would not be able to provide him with an aid this year because of funding. Of course, as a mom, I was scared because this would be his first time in a general ed class full time. So before he would go like back and forth, but this was his first time full time, and I was like, okay, maybe he might do well. He's been working great academically and also with behavioral problems. He hasn't had any of those recently. So I said, okay, maybe he might do well. Within weeks, he was coming home every single day crying and having full-blown meltdowns, and I could not figure out why. So I called a meeting again. I found out that he was being teased in the class. A lot of the students were laughing or joking about the way he said things and about the way that he did things. The school said that they would work on it, and nothing changed. everything got worse. They had a science rotation. It was a different teacher. There was laughing, there was giggling. He couldn't take it anymore. He ran away. My autistic son, with no aid due to funding, ran away from the school. Thankfully, someone did find him and they did bring him back to the school, and we had another meeting. So our solution for that problem was realizing that he was not happy or supported in that environment. We decided that he would go and spend half of his day and work in his old classroom that he used to be in, so that he could feel more comfortable and do his work and not have to worry about what everyone else is snickering about. Meanwhile, my 7th grader started middle school. He was so excited. He had an old teacher that he loved, that he got to connect with again. He started flag football, his first sport at school. And one day, at his practice, there was a girl on the sidelines. She was heckling him, messing with him. He told her to shut up and to leave him alone. And after practice, her and a group of friends that she was with followed my son to the front of the school and tried to pressure him into fighting her because they felt like they should after what she said. So she proceeds to get into my son's face and she pushes him. He pushes back, and then she proceeds to hit him in his head with a metal water bottle, leaving a huge knot on my son's forehead. From that day, his whole school experience was turned upside down. There were group chats about jumping him. His number leaked. He got calls constantly every single day, including the weekend, with death threats, rumors spreading. There were boys checking him in the locker room for messing with a girl. He was in constant fights. We were at the school daily over drama. My son was working really hard on trying to catch up on reading. How could he focus on reading and being better at schoolwork? At every second of every day, he was on high alert or trying to see if someone wanted to fight him at that moment. He wasn't worried about that. So I requested for him to be put on independent studies so that he could get some peace and he could actually learn what he needed to be learning. But I didn't know that within a week, I would be withdrawing him completely. The last straw was with my 5th grader. And if you know him, he is a ray of sunshine, an angel who wouldn't hurt a fly. His general ed classroom was chaotic, to say the least. They would have to stop constantly. That caused him to be constantly dysregulated, like sensory overload. So he had a lot of outbursts, as well as the fact that he had a really hard time sitting for long periods of time. And you know, in 5th grade, they don't give the kids a lot of recesses and time to move around and things like that. So he would pace in the back of the classroom to regulate his body. And their solution for that was, because it was distracting to the class, right? Their solution for that was to send him to a different classroom so that he could regulate his body. He spent most of his days going back and forth between those classrooms, which meant that they were moving on without him. So that set him back academically because he was missing that instruction time. During one of our IEP meetings, They said two things that really hurt me. They told me, I know in our last meeting you said that you just wanted your son to be happy. And I don't think he's happy here. The next thing said was, his test results are not reflective of how brilliant he is. When you talk to him one-on-one, he can think so deeply. When you teach him one-on-one, his understanding is so deep. It blew my mind. And then came their proposal. They said that they would make an exception for him, that they would send him to a totally different school so that he could be in a special education room where he could be free to move around. Mind you, he has not needed to be in special education since he was in kindergarten. Sitting in that chair, my mind raced a mile a minute. I'm thinking about my reality right now. A 7th grader on independent studies to try to escape violence and harassment. A 2nd grader running away from school because of bullying and no aids. My kindergartner being labeled as aggressive, causing me to have to sit in her classroom almost every day, be there just in case she acts in a way that they don't condone. Now they're pushing my 5th grader, who's brilliant, out of a school with friends that he loves. I went home that night and started doing my research. I brought it up to my husband. He was nervous. I was nervous because it meant that I was going to have to run the house differently. It was going to set me back on some of the creative projects I had, remodeling of the house. No one in our families have ever homeschooled. No one we knew had ever homeschooled. This was uncharted territory. We did not know what we were going to do. I had to realize that the system is not made for my children. Not specifically. It's not made to protect my children specifically. So I decided that I needed to create a system that was specifically made for mine. I stopped waiting for someone else to fix our lives. I chose to take complete control of our days and reverse engineer them from our goals. I'm creating an environment where my children can be safe, brilliant, and protected to learn in their own ways. Our children deserve to be happy right now. You deserve to be happy right now. If you're a mom out there feeling these exact same feelings or anything similar to them, I want to let you know right now that your instincts are valid. Peace is something worth fighting for. And you're fully capable of creating the life that your family wants and needs, even when no one else understands. In my next video, I'm breaking down how we started homeschool, our bloopers, and what we got wrong and the lessons we learned along the way. And also I will be incorporating some curriculum that's really easy to use if you're just getting started, and some free options and some really low price options, and I'll be showing you guys how I use them. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and remember, we're starting the lives that we want today.